Okay, welcome everybody to a class on the most common mistakes with vocabulary. Today we're going to look at make and do mostly, but also feel and a couple of random mistakes I have heard a few times. So make and do are so often confused that I thought it would be best to start with make and do. But there are many others. Give and let are very often confused. Say, speak, talk, tell are very often confused. And there are loads of other ones. We will look at many. Introduce and present are very often confused. But make and do are by far the most common, along with say, speak, tell, talk. So let's have a look at make and do. And I just want to say one thing before we start. Do is work. Yeah, if you remember that, you'll get it right most of the time. Now, it's not that simple, sadly, although a lot of it can be summed up like that. Do is work, is any kind of task or duty that you have to do because you need to earn money, or because your parents expect you to do it, or because your boss expects you to do it. It's a duty, an obligation when you do something. When you make something, it's creating something new. Not always, but often it's creating something new, yeah? If you make a test, then you create the test, yeah? You are the teacher. You create the test. You make a test. The pupils, the students, do the test. So I think that example makes it really clear the difference between make and do. Make means create, make a test, you create the test, you're the teacher. Do means do the test. It means do the work, do the test, fill in the answers on the exercises. So you do exercises, you do a test if you are filling it in, if you are doing it. It's very rare that pupils or students create tests, and so they don't usually make a test. That's what teachers do, right? So with that in mind, let's look at some of these mistakes. Okay, when I make surgery, I have a few doctors who have classes, and I have taught many doctors in my time. I enjoy working with doctors. Obviously, they are an intelligent group of people. And here, we need to just change make to do. Because obviously, a surgeon, when he's doing an operation, and you can do surgery, you can do an operation, do a surgical operation, do an operation. He's working, isn't he? He's working. It's what he needs to do to earn money. And it's what he has to do every day. It's his obligation. It's his duty. So when I do surgery, yeah, and it's exactly the same if you have a completely different job. Maybe you are a businessman and you are doing your taxes. Maybe you are doing your reports. Maybe you are doing your accounts. Yeah, it's going to be do there because you're working. Okay. So yeah, surgeons do surgery. They do an operation. Okay, when they're working on the patient, when they're cutting the patient open and, I don't know, removing something, maybe a tumour or something really serious like that. I believe that the doctor that I teach does a lot of cataract surgery. So perhaps he was removing a cataract and helping somebody to see again. What an amazing and very responsible job. But anyway, yeah, he does surgery, he does operations, he does cataract surgery. Okay, it was a favour that Frankie made for this guy. Now, here I do agree that this isn't actually work when you do somebody a favour. Not always, not usually. It's not actually work. And so sometimes you just have to write them in as do somebody a favour is do. It's not make. It's do somebody a favour. You might argue that it's more like work, it's more like an obligation. You have an obligation to that person. And if that helps you remember it, fantastic. Do somebody a favour, you have an obligation to that person. Okay, so it's always do somebody a favour. You either memorise it or you rationalise it in some kind of way. Okay, so it was a favour that Frankie did for this guy. Frankie did him a favour, and it is do somebody a favour. Okay, I didn't make my homework. Yeah, of course, it's do. I didn't do my homework. It's got to be do. There's even a work in here. And notice you do homework and you do housework, yeah? You do housework. And that makes sense because work around the house is work. It's still work. Yeah, so you do the dishes. If you do the washing up, you do the dishes. You do the cleaning. You do the... what else do you do? Any housework you do, yeah? So you do the cleaning, you do the cooking, you do the ironing. All of those would be do. Do the cooking, ironing. Yeah, you can certainly, you must use do with those two. Oh, excuse me, I was sick yesterday and every time I burp or swallow now, I get pain in that ear, but I think it's just that I went swimming for quite a few days and it will go in a few days. Okay, number 4, revision is work. It's schoolwork, yeah? When you revise something, you're repeating it.